Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, today I'm out on the lawn and I'm going to do some sandblasting on the DT2 MX frame, or what we're going to use for that frame. I've got all the other parts pretty much taken care of, but I need to get the frame done. I really need to, as many of these frames as I do, I really need to set up an outfit like CK Cycles has. Chris has made a really nice kind of a box over there that'll hold everything and contain all of it. But I'm still using a pressure sander, and it just goes all over. But when it rains and snows and everything, it just drives the sand into the ground, so it's not a big issue. Got mosquitoes this morning. We got down to a record low last night of 31 degrees, and this is the 22nd of June. The first day of summer, 21st, was below freezing here in my town in Montana. So let me get you handheld. We'll take a look at it. Okay, not real sure why I'm trying to cover the sticker up anymore. It's pretty much illegible, but I'll keep it as long as it'll stay on there. Of course, we've still got our stamping, and this just needs to be cleaned up and painted. It's been around a long time, and I may have to do. I didn't see any welding problems, but I can't remember what these are for. I think they're maybe for signal lights or something, and I'm not going to need them for this. Fender mounts here and down here, so we'll probably be cutting those off. I don't know, but I just need to look first and see what we need to do. I'm not sure I've got enough sand to do the whole job. Probably got a half a blaster filled up there. I use a 70 grit is what I use. It's not real aggressive, and it leaves a pretty smooth finish. You can sure see if welds are bad or anything like that once you get it down to the bare metal like this. So it gives you a good chance to look over everything and correct it before you paint it, or some people powder coat. I kind of tend to go with paint because that's what the factory uses. I realize that powder coating is more durable, but that's not what the factory used. Okay, I've got most of the parts sandblasted here, swing arm. I've got the wheels there. I think I was going to use this hub, and saw there was a crack here. I don't think that would bother the braking, but you know, you just will not use one like that. So I got another one here. I'm going to have to unlace to get to it. And here later this afternoon, I'm going to go ahead and order a set of spokes for 21-inch front wheel with, actually what you do is order them for the 125 MX with a 21-inch wheel. And that way we'll be using, like I said before, we'll be using the 125 hub. That saves a lot of weight, and you don't need that much braking anyway. And I've got a lot of the hardware that you can't get, and some that you can, that I won't buy, that I've got to replate. So a lot of that'll be getting replated. But probably the next thing we're going to jump into is the repair on this fender. As you can see, you got a lot of rust here, and it's really bad on the inside. Whenever you've got a double piece like this, the moisture gets behind it, and that causes that issue. The other side's good. Really, this fender is in pretty nice shape, except for that rust. We'll be taking off the wiring strip, and we'll be drilling out the spot welds here, and hopefully we'll be able to clean this piece up and reuse it. And then we'll go ahead and drill out the rest of the spot welds, get all this out. I doubt if this is going to be usable. We'll see when we get it off. And then we'll come back in and patch all this area here, and then put this piece back in, I think. I'm not real sure what I'm going to do for the back side yet. We'll wait till we get it off and see what we can do. But I'll probably go ahead and weld up the taillight holes and this hole here, and remove this. Anything that we don't need for an MX will be taken off to lighten the load. As you can see, it looks a little bit like the beach out here. We've got plenty of sand along in the weeds here. This is a backyard. We don't really try to keep a lawn back here. This is usually burn up this time of year, but we've been blessed so much with rain this year that we don't normally get, and we're just so thankful. The trees and everything were really suffering the last 5 or 6 years, and hopefully our drought is over. But our frame is ready to look over, repair, take off what we don't need, and get it painted. And then we'll start the build at some point. Okay, I've got this set up here in, well, let me just show you how I did it. I've just got a couple blocks of wood here in my vise, and this one here is just to raise that up. And that way I can clamp on the other side without causing a lot of damage, or any, I hope. It's not, I don't want to squeeze it real tight, but that, I think everything will be okay. And what I've done is I've just taken a self centering, not self-centering, but a spring-loaded punch, and I've gone around here and punched all these spot welds that I can see. I'm sure I probably missed a couple, but I'm gonna start with removing this piece here, and that'll give me a little better indication of what's underneath, I think. And I'm just going to start with a small drill bit that will kind of fit into that punch mark that I just made. And it doesn't matter if you go through on this one, because it's all this is going to be replaced. Let me get some more of these done. I got those 3 drilled out. Now I'll step up to 1/4 inch. Okay, that one popped right loose. That one did too. There we go. Oops, sorry. So you can see this one is pretty eat up there. I'm going to take and try to clean this up and see where we're at on that. I may have to make one. I don't know how I'll do it, but let me take it over to the bead blaster and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, took a little trip through the blaster and it's not too bad. There's definitely seen better days. I'm going to think about it a little bit and see what I can figure out, how maybe I can make one without too much trouble, and we'll just see. But we'll go ahead and do the demolition on this part and see where that ends up, because we're going to have to go plumb out to the outer edge of this thing. Okay, I went ahead and took the cut the rivets out of these two, or the spot welds rather, and we'll just start pecking away at it. And so there's that piece. So we'll have to fill those little holes up, and we can do that. We'll weld them the best we can, and then we'll go back with body putty and make them look nice. And I've got one more here I need to do on this cable clamp. I've got the little hole drilled. Just like that. So now we've got to get on the inside here and start working on getting this piece out of there. Okay, I got most of that drilled out, I think, and it's just about coming apart. Looks like I've got a couple I'm still going to have to persuade a little. Got a lot of rust and debris in there. I think I need to drill the holes a little bit more around the top, or the middle piece. Okay, I was trying to get that out in one piece so I can copy it the best as I can. And I did pretty good. It seems that these fenders probably all did this. I don't know, but I'm venturing to say that they are, or they do, because trying to find one on eBay or anywhere, they're very expensive. So that's why we're fixing this thing. It's, you know, people are wanting $200 plus for one that looks about like this. So that's where I think that's where we're going on a lot of this stuff these days. We're just going to have to fix it. We just can't afford to buy them. Especially, I mean, what would an Oswin cost? All right, let me get a game plan together and we'll see what we can do. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to leave this rolled edge here because it will be extremely hard to copy. So I'm just going to cut out basically this area here, the affected area, and now just kind of hope for the best there. But you know, it doesn't look like there's no rust in here really. It does come up to the very bottom of it right here, so we may find some, but I think when I get done with it, I can put some weld through primer in behind here to stop any, you know, to arrest the rust, and it'll look a lot better if I can leave that rolled edge. That way it'll look more like the original one. So let me kind of detail out where I need to cut. So we're just going to cut out pretty much where I've got it marked here, and this is not going to be easy because somehow or another you have to finish it around the top of this. So it's probably going to have to be all welded and then gone back with a sander and pretty much get it flush, because you put body putty in there and it's just going to be hard to get around this. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I do kind of like to get it as best I can. I've got it cut except for the ends here, so that's what we'll start now. So there we go. All right, we're just down to, we need to make a piece of metal that'll fit in there. And you have to remember when you're cutting this out that this piece here is smaller because of the tool, you know, the saw blade and the sanding that has been done. So you just compensate a little bit, and generally it's pretty much the thickness of your Sharpie. If you just draw the line right along there, it's pretty close. I'm going to move that up just a little bit before I get going here too far. Anyway, that works pretty good for me usually when I do something like this. And where it's blown out there, we've got to kind of just compensate, do what we think's right. So that's kind of where we'll start. And we'll start by probably spot welding it up here. And we've got a little bit of a contour here to bring out, especially here in the top. Not so much here. This is flat with the side here. This is flat with the side. So we'll spot it up here, and then we'll work this to kind of give us that rounded edge a little bit. And then we'll come on down and we'll start spotting it along the edges and down at the bottom. And we'll just start by getting kind of a close piece. We're going to leave some material because we just don't want to have to recut another one. So we'll leave a little extra. I think I better leave a little more than that. Let's try that. Well, we'll just kind of start with that. And just kind of start by sanding this closer to the shape, but I want to keep it, I just want to go down to my line. I don't want to go into that line at all. So I'll just go around and kind of form that. Got to turn my air on first though. So we'll get it a little closer, and then we'll see if we think we're close enough to start welding it in. Actually went back over to the brake and trimmed off what I could, and then sawed this piece, or these two pieces on this side. And now I'll go ahead and take the sander and form that. Okay, I just took this this piece, and remember we've got just a little bit of curvature we've got to have up here, just from about here to here. It's all a guesstimate. So you just go in, you start that bend a little bit, and then as you get closer to the center, you need a little bit further. So you just give it a little bit more. Now you can kind of tweak that with a body hammer and dolly as you go into it. But we just need to get a little bit of that curvature there, and we may have a little more than we need actually. Let me take a little bit out of it. Right in the middle. And we'll form this as we go, but we want to attach the center, and we need to have this pretty well centered. We'll have to trim the ends. We'll be doing a lot of trimming. This is just how it works. But let me get my welder set up, and we'll see if we can get a spot weld in. Okay, we need this to be flush with the parent material here the best we can. And just make sure that you can get to, centered enough where you can get to your ends there. So we'll just kind of raise this up to where it's, I think I need to do a little bit more tweaking here. Looks like we're pretty well centered. just do some bird poop welds here, and that's the best way to do it. Okay, you can see we're going to have to be doing a lot of trimming as we go, but we also have to do a little bit of forming. So it's a slow process. Otherwise, you've got to use a lot of body filler, and it's just not going to look right. So you just do the best you can going into the project. Okay, I'm a little long down here on this end, so I'm going to go in here and just hold this up a little bit. And just trim as we go to try to make that fit. You don't want an absolute tight fit, because then you'll get it'll bunch up on you and it'll wrinkle. So you need a little gap between your two metals. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same on this end. Okay, I think you can see where I've given myself enough room there as I come around, so it's not absolutely tight. You're going to fill that with filler wire, and the same on this end. Now this end we're buttoned up all the way, but all the rest of them we don't want to. Will actually, it will hamper you doing that. But here, this is where we want it to look good, so we're gonna try our best there to get it nice and clean. So let's see here. I think, got to get a pair of pliers. Okay, I'm working this with a little nylon hammer on the inside to try to get it as close that I can as I go, and I'll just stitch that in. Okay, then we'll just start the other end, kind of the same thing. Okay, so now you want to try to start your contouring here the best you can, and it's lightly work it. You don't want too much. Remember, if you put pecker marks in it, you're going to have to take them out or fill them. So very slow. Okay, I'm supporting this on the bottom, and I've tacked it here that on both sides or both ends, just to kind of support it while I'm working it, because I'm trying to get this contour in here, and I'm going to do that with one of these. And you need to do that before you start fitting and welding down here, because it's going to cause this to get shorter. As you knock it out this way, it's going to draw it up down here. So you want to try to get that in before you weld. Otherwise, you may not have enough material. So that's how we're going to work on this right now, and it's a slow go. We're just going to go at it slow and then try to feel our contour. and see if we're getting close to what we need to do. Okay, now I think I've got that pretty close, so I'm going to go back in here and trim this. Okay, I come back in and I cut my ends loose again, and I've got this trim pretty good, but it's a little tight, so I'm still going to have to work on it. We're probably a little too loose there, but we'll deal with it. But I just need to come back in and trim just a little bit along here. All right, guys, got it trimmed out pretty good, I think. So the first thing we need to do is lower this back down, get it flush, the two pieces flush, and we'll re-weld that. I can feel that better with my bare finger, but I've got to have a glove on or it'll get hot. So we'll give that another little tack. Okay. And again on the other end, same thing. All right. And then I'm going to go along here, and I may have to change this, but I'm gonna put a couple tacks in on the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and come back in here and work that with my plastic hammer to finish up my contour. Now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tack this, or actually weld it, on the inside along this bottom edge. That's going to allow me to not have as much to try to contour and finish out here. I'll just have the 4 spot welds, and then I'll be able to put a little bit of putty in there. But we'll finish welding that one on the inside. The rest of them we'll weld on the outside. And this is just a slow process. And this is what we're doing. Then we'll skip down a little ways so we don't introduce too much heat in it. Hit a couple there, and then come on down to another place. Just kind of keep moving around. Otherwise you'll get a bunch of heat introduced into it, and it'll cause you wrinkling problems. Okay, again on the holes, got a little spoon here I made out of a piece of flattened up copper tubing, and I can set that right below where there's a little hole there, and I can go ahead and weld that up, and it doesn't stick to the spoon, and we get a complete weld. And I'll just go ahead and do that on all the rest of them. Okay, starting the sanding process here. I was able to get in here pretty good, so I think that's going to look pretty nice after it's all done. Just a little skim of body putty into that area, and that's just to fill the little holes. But I'll continue to work on that, and I'm going to go ahead and get all the rest of this stuff leveled down. Then we'll measure and try to figure out where our hole goes. Okay, what I did, I'm just kind of doing an estimation here. I'm just looking at kind of where it is here and how much space is right down here. And we know that it comes into this scallop. So I just set it in there, and then I can go ahead and drill the hole and start working on this piece here. And I still don't know what I'm going to do here. I may stack up some washers or something, I don't know. But this piece I believe I can use again, and I went in here and just put a little dimple in here with my spring-loaded punch, and I'll drill a small hole, and then you know, something to center it, and then we'll go ahead and cut that you know, the big hole out. And all I did was just kind of eyeball everything there. I just don't think it's that big a deal, but maybe it is. I guess when I get ready to install the Fender, if it doesn't work, then I'll know I should have tried something a little bit different. But you know, there's a rubber cushion that goes in there, I believe, and you're going to have a little give back and forth. This up here where you can kind of still see it, I think. Hope it's right. That hole was about 7/8, so that's the size of a hole saw I used, and then this will fit right up in there like that. I've got to weld these up, because we'll be using the spot welder or resistance welder to put that back on. All right, so that looks pretty good to me. That will go right there. Like I say, I've got to weld these holes up, and then we'll use the resistance welder on 3 different places, just like they did here. And here's our repair. It was a little low right there, but that's what the body filler's for, so it's not a big deal. And I went ahead and welded up these. I still need to sand them down a little bit better, and welded up the hole for the wire and for the tail light. Just not going to use any of that. There's the inside. I'll trim that up a little bit, and then when it's all said and done, I'll put Pour 15 in here, and that will keep it from rusting. And it'll let, you know, it can run up underneath this ledge and everything, so all that will be good for another 50 years. And I'll just knock the high spots off of what's inside. But that's a pretty nice repair. But we've still got to come up with something for the inside here. So that's my next project, that and welding this up. Okay, and we're going to do just like we did. We put the little copper spoon under it, and we just weld it up. Got one left to do. Okay, I'm experimenting here. I've got kind of a die made here. Well, let's just see if it'll work. Well, I'm gonna have to do something. Kind of it's a little too sharp, I think. So let me work on that. This is just something I found, so I'm kind of thinking it might work. I just need to get the sharpness removed there. We'll see. I just turned it around. Let's see what that does. Better. It needs to be not as blunt. I need to take a little bit. This is the edge I'll use this time. Needs to be rounder, I think, and particularly in the middle. Okay, got this rounded off, and I've rounded this off and give it a little bit more clearance there for the metal to fold in there. And I'm going to put some grease on it, I think. Maybe that way it'll be more apt to center. It's just hard to see where to put it. All right, let's see what she does now. Better, but I'm still not getting quite centered. That's the whole issue. Got to figure out a way to be able to see it. I'm just trying to eyeball it here, and yeah, that was pretty good there. That's about all we need. And then cut a hole in the center of it and just kind of bend it in, fold it in. I'll probably have to make something else to do that. Okay, let's see if we can get it kind of inverted there a little. It's kind of off a little bit. I think it needs to be a little smaller. Yeah, kind of, sort of. Okay, that's what I ended up with. It looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but I think it's going to do the trick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out of here, basically another one of these, and then the piece that I put in there will probably just be pretty much flat, and I will spot weld this onto it, and that way I think it'll do what we need it to do. A challenge, but we got her done. Okay, on these little wings on here, I'm going to roll a stiffening bead into each side. It won't look like the original, but it'll serve the purpose. And I'm putting these wings on separately. Let's see, those need to come up, so I believe it's going to be like that. Let's see if I can get her done here. See, that's what we're putting in there, just this little rib, so that it will help stiffen this up. Just a little more depth. Okay, so that'll give it the rigidity that it needs. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. Just about the same thing. And you know, they had a different way of putting them in. They probably stamped this. I was able to roll it, and it'll serve the same purpose. Okay, I'm just going to tack it, and then I'll probably take it and TIG weld it. Okay, it looks about right. Let's see if that's going to fit in there. Yeah, I may have to trim it just a little bit, but I believe it will fit. So that'll takes place of this piece, and then we'll put this piece here on the outside, and that should give us what we need to mount the rear fender. Okay, I've got this pretty well worked down here, and I went ahead and got this tacked up. So that's the replacement for this piece, and it will go right in there. I'll have to squeeze it down with a pair of pliers and get it situated, and then we'll spot weld that in. But right now I'm going to take the TIG welder and weld up these two ears. Okay, I've got the weld through primer already sprayed on both pieces on the where they meet, and then we'll take care of the outside when we get this attached. Weld through primer right there, and we're going to go ahead and mount this using the spot welder. Let me get that set up. Okay, I don't know how much you're going to be able to see here. Kind of got this, got a lot of clamps in here. I'll try to get one about midway there. And then move down to the below it. Okay, those look good. Let me go over to the other side and do the same. Okay, the spot welds here on the fender side, and now we'll try to capture a couple others. Maybe I can get rid of these clamps in the middle now. And I think I'm going to tap this down a little up here at the top. And just kind of tapping it down up here to try to get it to form and to set down onto that, so I don't have a big gap between it. That was what caused the problem before, is the mud and stuff getting back there. All right, maybe I can get the rest of these off now. And let's see if we can get a couple down here at the end of each one. Okay, so that should be that piece fastened, and you can see the welds there. And the next thing we'll do is put this piece here on, and it'll go through, actually be attached to the fender plus this plus it. And I've got the weld through primer already on it, and I've already ground down the welds where I filled the holes. So let me kind of see if I can get that situated so it sets down there nice. Okay, I'm going to have to kind of hold on to the welder here. It's actually pretty heavy, and we'll try to get everything situated here. A little longer since we're going through 3 pieces. It's looking pretty good up there. Let's see if we can get one more. All right. Should be good. Okay, everything's in place here. Got all our spot welds and through this piece and into the old one that we welded back up and reused. These spot welds will look pretty factory, but when we get it sanded down, and you really don't even need to, because you can see them here. Mine look a little different, but it's not going to look out of place, I don't believe. And if it does, so what? It's an MX bike. But I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And we'll be able to get our grommet in here. You can see the other welds that I welded up the holes. Got this little one here, and I think there was one over here somewhere. Yeah, right here for those clamps. So one that's the factory one. Looks pretty good. Still nothing, no rust that I can see. And then our replacement one. So this video is getting pretty long, so I'm probably just going to give it just stop here, and I'll do the filler and all that stuff with when I get ready to paint it. But that's the repair of the DT2 MX Fender for what we're doing anyway. It's not a real one. I'm not sure whether they're different or not, but we're being different here. We're building one from scratch and using what we have. Okay guys, there you have it. Kind of the repair of the rear fender and sandblasting of the frame. Sorry this thing's so long, but there's a lot into this fabricating those parts for the rear fender. It's a job that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's I think in this case it's well worth it, because like I said before, most of the fenders I'm seeing are in just as bad a shape, and they're $200 or more, and I wouldn't even know what to think about a NOS one, what they are like. But this is a good solid fender, good solid repair, and we'll go ahead and put a little putty on it. It shouldn't take very much, and prime it out, and get ready to squirt it whenever we're building this machine. I'm probably going to work on this one a little bit as we go along, just to kind of get the parts ready. And you know, I've got a lot of plating to do, zinc plating, cadmium plating, and just repair like this. I've already got a set of forks ready to go for it. That I've had for quite a while already. So really I just need to get the frame painted and decide what I want to do with the swing arm. I'm not sure whether we're going to do any extension or not. We'll see on that. I got the spokes ordered, so those should be in middle of next week sometime, and we can build 2 wheels for it. So hey, thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.